Are you guys tired of facing the same exact problems every single month, every single quarter, every single year as you try to scale your business? My name is Chad Westbrook, and I'm the founder of Sales Alignment. And I've called out these three problems and not just called them out, but I've solved them. So the first one is bad leads. So in my mind, the lead is the most important thing in your business because this is the difference between investing hours and hours. I've done the math. It's 6+ hours that you spend. And if you're doing all of this stuff for a client that truly isn't qualified or a client that doesn't have a problem big enough that they actually need to do something about it, it's all going to result in absolutely nothing. And that is poor close ratio. Right. So that's the first thing that always comes up is that I got a poor close ratio or a low close ratio. And I have no idea how anybody gets to 50, 60, or 70%. I can tell you they don't bid a lot of jobs. And that's not a bad thing. They just know exactly what they do. So the second one that I always deal with is sales process. And when you hire someone, especially a salesman, you're like, oh man, this guy's awesome. Like he's going to do great. He did great in his interview process. And when he role played, like he killed it. Like all of that's great. But the one thing I can tell you is that he's bringing all of his habits from somewhere else. But when you bring a second person, I can promise you his experience, what he's been taught or hasn't been taught or evolved in a good or a bad way, that creates ultimately a hodgepodge. Inconsistency of how do you qualify your clients? Like what questions do you ask? What makes a good client or a bad client? And what makes a profitable job or a non-profitable job? You have to have a defined way of doing something, because if you don't, the only thing you're going to have is confused employees, because if they don't know what they do, when they do it, or how they do it, it's one person directing it, or it's a bunch of people making a bunch of mistakes that waste time, energy, and money. Understanding these three major pitfalls, which is bad leads that waste time and money, poor sales processes that ultimately leave you as a commodity, having to be the low dollar to be able to win the project because you don't have a good, solid sales process. Or number three, which is poor production, which gets you low gross profit margin and gets you clients that call you reactively, which means they only call you when they have a problem because you go out there, you fix the problem. But that's all you do is you just fix the problem, right? You fulfill your contract, you get off as quickly as you can, hoping that you can make as much money as possible. And the client maybe calls you back when they have an issue. And that's if someone else hasn't stepped in inside the process, or maybe you have a good follow-up process, which is great, that might retain the client on a reactionary side. If you guys like what you're hearing, if you guys agree with me, disagree, wherever it is, put some comments down below, hit the follow button. I got a bunch of topics that I'm going through, guys, and it's fun doing this. So thanks. I appreciate it, guys, and have a good one.